Daws Butler is a better than an average bear. He's a dog with a southern accent, and he's one of the most famous voices in animation today.
Yeah, I'm Yogi Bear, and I'm smarter than the average bear.
I'm Huckleberry Hound, and I just finished part of my autobiography. When I was a little old puppy dog, we used to have grits every day to eat, grits. People used to say, "You like grits?" I'd say, "Well, I like grits a little bit."
You're moving your lips. You should be able to take some kind of therapy for that and try to control it. Yeah, you're embarrassing me.
Well, you know, Yogi, it's not a question of embarrassment. I told you before, I'm not a ventriloquist. And when you talk, my lips move.
Yogi Bear and Huckleberry Hound are only two of dozens of animated cartoon characters whose lips move when Daws Butler talks. He is one of the best-known voiceover artists, someone you hear but never see, a talent that can make the diminutive Butler into the world's only 5-foot 8-inch frog.
But this means I'm not a frog at all, but an enchanted prince. I'm just afraid you'll have to carry on as a duet instead of a trio, for I must seek my fortune in the outside world.
I didn't feel that I had any particular talent. I wasn't a good student, really, and it was difficult for me to learn in an academic way. So there were amateur contests springing up on weekends and neighborhood theaters and nightclubs downtown in Chicago. And so I got up the courage to sign up. I had about 3 impersonations I could do. I think it was Rudy Valley, President Roosevelt, and a Model T Ford starting on a cold day.
Sounding like an old Ford starting on a cold morning and doing voice and facial impressions of stars of the 30s was a big jump for a young man who says he started out life inhibited.
I did develop at an early age the realization that I was being drawn to people with talent. In other words, I could command more. The chameleon part of me was activated more by clever people. I felt more withdrawn with people with whom I couldn't communicate. I said, will you hold it down? Will you hold it down? Hold it down. Hold it down.
Communication is important to Butler, not only through his voiceovers, but in a workshop he conducts for young people who would like to do what he does so well.
Marjorie Dickerson fell down one day and never got up. It's actually a thin E, never. Now this is where you get into more of the music. You mean to say?
You mean to say?
Very good. She fell down.
She fell down.
And never got up.
And never got up.
Never got up. And you don't put your tongue between your teeth.
You don't.
That's why you can't say think. You can't say think, you say tink. I think you're a beautiful girl.
And I thank you.
This is a little deal. It's in a delicatessen, and it's very easily opening. Now, you do number 1, I'll do number 2, okay?
Okay.
You start.
Anybody at this table?
Don't do it. Oh, that's beautiful. Don't do it quite that broad. Let's do less, not more. All I want is the flavor, the dust on a moth's wing. Okay.
Why are you tisking? You don't like the bagel?
Yeah, no, that was... Now, the second part was better. You say, why are you tisking? I think if you hold the vowel once in a while, why are you tisking?
Why are you tisking?
Cockney has a marvelous flavor. Once you fall into it, you never lose it.
Will you thank dear Mrs. Hudson for the soup? It was delicious.
Well, I will.
I'm so sorry I fainted, Doctor.
Okay, now that's very good. I'm so sorry I fainted. If you can caress the word a little more. I'm so sorry I fainted, Doctor.
I'm so sorry I fainted, Doctor.
That's it, a little more texture.
Daws Butler came to Los Angeles after World War II, and one of his early co-workers was the talented Stan Freberg. The association produced humorous radio shows and some extraordinary comedy records.
What you gonna do tomorrow, Joe? What you gonna do on Christmas? You got any plans?
Nothing much.
Why don't you come by the house, Joe? We're gonna have Christmas dinner. The missus always fixes a plate of relish with them little carrot sticks. You know, olives, pickles, scallions. Most folks call them green onions, but they're really scallions. Did you ever notice that, Joe?
Ever notice what, Frank?
How most folks call them green onions, but they're really scallions.
Mm-hmm.
About the same time, a man named Bob Clampett was producing one of early Los Angeles television's most successful kid shows, Time for Beanie. Daws Butler was Beanie, and Stan Freberg was the voice of Cecil the Seasick Sea Serpent.
My wife made the first Cecil puppet, which was things I had around the house, like a couple suction cups with the nostrils, and it was made out of an old terry cloth sleeve, which she dyed green, and she made a tongue, a red tongue inside, and that was just a work puppet. Then she was going to make an elaborate thing for the real show. Nobody liked the big one that she made with the horns and the this and that. So we went back, and this little work puppet became a very famous character.
We're going to use...
For the last 20 years, Butler has been a vocal mainstay of the Hanna-Barbera cartoon studios. But even now, the famous voice gets some occasional coaching from legendary cartoon creator Joe Barbera.
And there he goes.
Now that's that. He says,
Next, it's the captain of the Scooby-Doopies himself.
right?
Well, we can do Huck first, as long as they're on that line. Energy.
But as always, for Daws Butler, the payoff comes at the microphone, when all the years of work result in one of those familiar cartoon voices.
Yay! Who said anything about sleeping in a cave with a mosquito? Yee, I'm smarter than the average bear.